Hello, welcome back to the channel. It's Natalie. I am playing with the Tracey Warrior set. I love this set. And I did actually notice there's a sequel, which I thought was really cute. I haven't done too much with stamping on Kraft cardstock, and I'm even going to go so far to say that I don't think I've ever done it. So today is the day. I may have, I don't know. I may, who knows, but we're just going to go. This is it. This is the last one, or the first one. I am stamping with a Hero Arts Couture ink. Now there's quite a few different ones that you can get out there. I have stamped it 2 times just to give it a really nice color or deep color, but as it dries it's going to go back and it's going to be harder for you to see, but it's there. You're going to get the idea. The thing that I've found when I've seen other people do it is basically to do a white pencil over the top of the area that you're stamping. This is going to give it a nice bright sort of color. I'm going to do this 2 different ways. Well, I'm not going to, one, I'm going to have the white pencil. The other one, I'm not going to do the white pencil around it at all. I'm going to basically color each little, they're sort of like petals, but they're not really petals, of his mane in the same sort of style, but I am going to rotate a little bit of the pencil of where the darkest color is. Okay. Basically my light source is going to be from the top left, as you can sort of see in this one. And as I get around the bottom, I do show you a couple, but I skip some. You can see here around, I thought around his ears I might show you. I am using a dark brown in Prismacolor Pencils. Dark brown, you've got the numbers up here so you can see it. Chocolate, goldenrod, and I haven't written my yellow down, which was canary yellow. That's what it was, canary yellow, and white. I will, when it comes to his legs, I will bring in a black, but for the most part around his mane and his face and also his very bottom of his tail, I'm just working out where my shadows are going to be. I'm going to have this white on the base of it, and then the color on the top. The legs, no white, as I mentioned before. This one is still pretty much going to be, I've sort of rotated, and they're almost like a petal, are they not? They're almost like a petal. So even though it's a lion, we're going to ignore that for a time being. It's a petal. I've basically rotated this, still keeping with the idea that my shadows are coming from the top left. This particular one, as you can see, it's a little bit more, that the very top of it is the light going to be my lightest, and a little bit around the edges on each side is going to be the darkest. And I pretty much go through the whole thing. The next one down to the left is going to have a little bit more on the left hand side, you can see it there, and a lot more lighter color on the bottom, on the top, the top of the, let's say, petal. To define this from the mane from the rest of the lion, that's where I've come in with the black. And you can see the ink has very much faded. I can sort of pretty much see it, but I really wanted to get an idea of where the claws, they're not really claws, the break of his feet, for his little pads of his feet are. So I brought the other stamp set back in to just make sure it's the right place. And it didn't really, honestly, it doesn't matter. It does not matter, people. And you're going to see here, it's already looking a lot darker, ignoring the whole fact that I've got black in there as well. I still want a little bit of definition in the bottom of his paws. So I have used the chocolate and a little bit of I think it's pretty much mostly the chocolate that I used, just to give a little bit of an idea of the roundness of his feet and to finish that off. So if it was all white, I think it would just look a little bit more weird. This way we've got the roundedness that he's standing on something, and he is going to be standing on something, but we'll talk about that later on. So I'm just finishing off all my blending. You do have to be careful around the black to keep them a nice non-smudged, because if I put that yellow over the black too much, it's going to pull out some of the black. Prismacolors are waxy pencils, so they will sort of drag out the other color. Doing his other leg now. So this leg's going to have a little bit more shadow on the left hand side, and I've started doing a tiny bit of his tail. And it's all basically the same sort of flow with everything. Nothing is really happening here. The days are getting a little bit cooler. The days are we got back to not having daylight savings now, so the days are a little bit lighter for a while, but things are starting to cool down. So I hope all you people over in America and England, I have family in England too, are enjoying the nice little bit of warmth that is slowly coming through, and just getting out and enjoying it while you've got it. But otherwise, there's nothing really happening. It's just kids are now back to school, so things are getting back to being a little bit more crazy. With his tail, I'm adding the white, as I mentioned earlier, and I'm going to use a little bit more flicking action, because this is going to give us a sense of fur or hair. I wasn't really worried about his mane, but his tail, he needed a bit of fur, and I'm trying not to lose that too much. His little ears, we're not going to go the really darkest color of the dark brown. We're just going to start in with the chocolate brown, the goldenrod, and then the canary yellow. So this is going to give the inner part of the ear a little bit more depth, so it's not a flat color. But yeah, there's no real difference between the two of them. So, do you like colouring on Kraft cardstock? It is a little bit different. You do have to, I think about your colours. These colours will be a little bit different if it's coloured on white cardstock. Obviously, for one, you wouldn't need a white pencil, so it would be a little bit quicker. But I found this very, very relaxing, and didn't really take too much problem with, or take too long, would be much of a problem with this white. Now my camera is about to cut off a little bit, but you can see I'm outlining so I've sort of blended out a little bit. I've gone not up against the edge, like right up to his ears. There's a tiny little gap in between his ear and his face. This is going to give it a reflective shadow, and I'm blending out my colors. Now he's got a little headband, so that is going to have a tiny little bit of a shadow projected onto his face, which is going to make his headband stand out a little bit. And you can basically see here what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to outline with the white because it is getting very light now. The parts of his face, and just filling that in with the white pencil. I'm going to do some tiny little dots, but I'm going to make them stand out a little bit more later on. Yeah, so school holidays are back. I don't have any at school, but I go sometimes working at a TAFE. So that's different. It's fun. It's you know, you enjoy things. You have to enjoy things in life. Let's talk about that for a second. I have ordered myself my first ever brand new car. You know, loan, not paid for it outright, because I actually have a business. So under my business, you automatically can get approval for, well, I mean, there'd be criterias, but I was told originally you can automatically get approval for like a car loan and that sort of thing. So that is what I have done. Let's go back to this. You can see here I really have left, it'd be a millimeter, if that. I don't even, like an eighth of an inch or 16th of an inch. Tiny little space in between the edge of my face and a little bit of shadow. Again, this is the reflective shadow. This is going to help bring the face out and make it just not into a whole great big dark rim of the brown. Yeah, so I have ordered my first ever car, so I am super excited. But there has been a stuff up, not on my behalf. I went to the dealership and I sort of wanted my paperwork, which, come to think of it, I still don't actually have all my paperwork. I just have a screenshot of the paperwork. Anywho, I'm going around that gap with the goldenrod. You don't want anything too dark. You don't want anything too white. The yellow is just going to be too bright, so the goldenrod sort of sit that really well. So if you're doing 3 colors, you want the minimum color, but it also depends on what you're doing. So I went into the dealership and I said to this person that was helping me, you know, I know it's meant to be like 2 months away, but is there any update? And the guy comes back, a different guy. The guy that's helping me is actually he's leaving. So my salesperson is someone totally different. And let's get back to that. Now, this is a glaze pen. I love my glaze pen, but it can come really thick. The longer you press it down onto the cardstock, the thicker it is. So that's why I went over the nose, because it just was not sitting properly. The reds that I'm using are black grape, toucan red, and crimson red. I think that's how you pronounce it. The feathers are going to be violet blue, ultramarine, and periwinkle. And I'm going to stamp my sentiments very shortly in fallen leaves. Yeah, and so he comes back and he's like, actually, your car's on its way to Bayswater, which is in Victoria, which is not too far. All the cars from this particular company all go there, and then you have to basically pay your money, and then they will put in whatever extras that you wanted. For me, I'm having cameras. And I'm like, what? Really? Are you serious? Like, what? So it was a bit of a dash around to try and sort out my money and everything else. And they said, by the end of next week, which is the week after Easter. And I went, okay, we'll see. This is the warm grey multi-liner, and this is a 0.1, and I'm just doing little lines and dashes, and that is going to form our ground. It's going to give the impression of grounding our image. And I'm going to use a black glaze pen a little bit and some stickles, some Stardust stickles, to just add some little bits. Yeah, so the short story is basically, no, I still have to wait 2 to 3 months. I was really bummed out. If you've ever had a new car before, that's what you really want, and that's when you want it, and you want it now. So be patient. I know, patience. but it gets exciting. Anyway, I will let you know what happens. That's my card for today. Take care. I'll talk to you very soon. Bye.